Hey guys, so today on BKR Sport, we are back for the World Rugby Review. We do this every single Tuesday, regardless of if there's any rugby on, because guess what? Right now, there is no International Rugby on, and this sucks. This is shit house. I hate it. I love my International Rugby, and we're not going to get any until, buddy, February, so with the Six Nations, so decent time in between drinks. Decent damn well time. Love my drinks, and there's a decent time between drinks. So unfortunately, there will be no rugby action until February, but in the same sense, we still do this every single Tuesday. So regardless, buddy, tune in. Subscribe right now. Notification bell right now. Thumbs up right now. But today, guys, we're going to be going through 12 teams in World Rugby and giving them a grading system. An A+, B, C, bloody F. There is an F here. Ooh, who's getting the F? There is an F here. There is a bloody big old fat fail. A big old fat fail. So you're going to have to watch and buddy find out. But Italy are included here, guys. They are in the top 12 for me. Yes, obviously they're 14th, below Tonga and Georgia. But in reality, they're not below Tonga and Georgia. So they will be here. But let's just get into the video and let's talk about all these 12 teams and what I think they did in the 2020 calendar year. Sixth spot. Hello, lads. Oh, we got the Wallabies, the Australians, and that was the beginning of the year. And wait. Oh, wait, they didn't move. Okay, they didn't move. Fantastic. This is a difficult one. Last week I was talking about the fact that Australia haven't been as bad as most people are making them out to be, but in the same sense, they also didn't get the results they wanted, right? So they do look quality going forward, 2-3 years away, like 2 years away. Even potentially next year, they'll start to show some real signs. The thing you got to focus on here, right, is that Australia lost 2 games. They drew 3 games and won 1 game, right? So out of the 6 games, wasn't great results. But you're going to have a look at the results, like we talk about all the time. That should be, realistically, 4 wins and 2 losses, which is I'd probably say an A- year, maybe B+, A-. But because Reece Hodge, the kicker, and it does come down to the kicker, 79th minute, your team gets you to the point, and then you are the kicker, you kick it, you win the game. We didn't. All 3 times, he missed the kick. 79 minutes in, right? So you do have to lay the blame on the kicker there. You just simply do, okay? And it wasn't 1 time, it wasn't 2 times, it was 3 times. So you should be thinking about Australia actually being around that 4 and 2 mark, but they didn't, so fair enough. I think that the positivity shown from Australia deserves a plus, but I'm going to give it a C because realistically the results don't show a quality year. From watching the games myself, I can definitely see a severe amount of improvement. I can definitely see an immense amount of positivity going forward, but I don't think it's enough to give it a B area. I think it's a C, but the plus comes from the fact that the results don't show what actually happened. And it was a decent enough year for the Wallabies on the first year of a rebuild for that 2023/2027 World Cup. The Irish, number 5. And they finished off the year in 5 as well. Started off and finished off in 5. Didn't make any movements. I do think Australia should be above Ireland. I think Australia right now would beat Ireland. Obviously, we won't get to see that until later next year, but if that happens. But I do think Australia will jump Ireland next year anyway. I don't think Ireland had that great of a year. Six Nations was okay-ish. And the Autumn Nations Cup was just poor. They obviously won their final game against the Scottish to come 3rd, but really, it was poor. They didn't do well against Wales, but that just showed how bad Wales were, that they won that game so significantly. The second game, they obviously lost to England, and the 3rd game, they only just beat the Georgians. So I think that, yeah, you wouldn't be getting a good taste in your mouth at all from this Irish team. Very bland, very boring. Not the team they were in 2018/19. Not impressive at all and very disappointing for me. So I'm going to give them a pass mark and I'm going to give them a C-. Because I feel like even though they didn't move from 5th, they're still a top 5 team technically, even though I don't think so. I just feel like the Irish would not be happy with this year. It wasn't a great year at all. I didn't like what I saw from them going forward or now. And unfortunately, they've got a long way to get back to where they once were. They've got a long way to get back to where they once were. So for me, I'm going to throw them as C-, which is, chucking a bone really, because it's not a fail. They still came 3rd. They still weren't bad in the Six Nations, but it's not a great season by any means. But it is still technically a pass. You were waiting for it. Oh yeah, you were. I know you were waiting for this one. Number 4, the Welsh. Wales. Okay. All right. Well, they were 4 at the beginning of the year. Okay, let's go have a look. So they're not 1, 2, 3. They're not 4. Oh, that means they've lost. Okay, so they won't be dropping too far though. So 5, Ireland 6, 7, 8. They're not even in the top 8. Wales in 9th. You know, this is outrageous. This is out damn well outrageous. And I will say this too. If we have a normal year, Japan jumps them. Because they're only 0.07. They had one game and won one game. They jump over Wales and Wales go 10th. If Fiji play their tournament, they beat Italy, in my opinion. They beat Scotland, in my opinion, which comes with a decent amount of ranking points. And I think they honestly give France a decent enough crack. And obviously, then they wouldn't play Georgia, and they'd probably play a team like Wales or against the Irish, and they would have had a decent chance of beating either of those teams with the way those two teams are playing right now. So I think Fiji would have jumped them too. I think that Wales right now have been playing like 11. I think Wales right now playing like their 11th spot. And debatable in Japan, but in the same sense, like, it would have happened. They're only about 3 points above, 2.5 points above Fiji, and they're only 0.07 above Japan, so Wales were dropped into 11th. That's unacceptable. They were 4th, and now they're 9th. Straight up F, big fail, shithouse, boring. Don't talk about Italy. They were shithouse the first half, blew away in the second half. Wales so far off what they used to be. I look forward to seeing them get better in the future. Long way to go before that. I'm not even considering them for 2023 at this point. Maybe 2027, but I'm not even considering at this point that they're going to be there. Show me something else from the Six Nations. Otherwise, I'm not even thinking about you in the near future whatsoever. So, Wales, love ya. Get better. Think you're a very passionate, quality nation. Holy shit. Massive F this year. Number 3 at the beginning of the year was the English, and they finished off the year in number 2. So they jump over New Zealand there, and you'd be happy with that. Obviously, they won the Six Nations. They won the Autumn Nations Cup. Happy days. I think that they look pretty average in the Autumn Nations Cup. I don't think they looked great at all, and they obviously should have lost to France, but, you know, that was a second-string France team and a English team that had about 800 caps compared to 80. So that's why they're not getting an A+. They're getting an A. I think that they still look pretty... They went up a spot into the top 2 of the world. You can't give them less than an A. I think that because they won both their tournaments, you have to give them an A and not an A-. But I just don't think they played that well in regards to realistically either tournament, but they were still better in that Six Nations. But the Autumn Nations Cup, not impressive at all. So I'll give it an A. You'd still be happy with that. It's still a decent year. You know, it's a pandemic year. Whoop-de shit. But in the same sense, you'd also be very disappointed in how that Autumn Nations Cup really kind of panned out. In the same sense, you won it. But I know you know what I mean, though. It's great that you won it, but I know you know what I mean. Finally, the Kiwis, New Zealand. They were number 2 at the beginning of the year, and now they're number 3, obviously. So I think anyone who really knows Southern Hemisphere rugby and keeps in tune with Southern Hemisphere rugby knows that this was a disappointing year for the All Blacks. They weren't happy with this. You know, they weren't happy with this year. And although they won the Tri-Nations, they kind of stumbled across the line there. They deservedly, convincingly won the Bledisloe Cup. Although their performances weren't exactly outstanding, but they still won the Bledisloe Cup. Tri-Nations, like I said, they stumbled across the line, but it is what it is. They still won it. I think the Kiwis are definitely looking for improvement coming next year. I think that they're very disappointed with how it has worked out in the short term, but they've got to remember this is a long game. This is a long-term plan, and this is the first year of a rebuild. So, yeah, look, they're very young. A lot of improvement to go. I think that obviously the Wallabies should have won that Tri-Nations, but didn't because of Buddy Rees-Hodge. But they just didn't have that same air about them. They didn't have that same feel about them, the Kiwis. They didn't look as scary as they normally do. So they have come back to earth in regards to their team. And I think that the Kiwis understand that, and the world understands that. So I would be encouraging New Zealand to try and get that feeling back by next year, not 2-3 years down the track, so that they can still keep that same mentality of we are the best in the world. Because I've seen people talking shit saying we are the best in the world right now. It's like, well, you're not. The last time you played South Africa, you lost the Tri-Nations, Rugby Championship, and you also... the World Cup is South Africa. So you're not the best in the world right now. And also, technically, you're actually 3rd. And really, I think that France would beat you right now. So I'd put you in 4th. And I'm sorry, but it's true. If you watch French rugby, you know it's probably true too. So I'd argue put France above England, but it is what it is. So I have New Zealand in 4th right now, but they are in 3rd technically. Very disappointing year, but they still got their job done. I'll give it a B plus because they won the time. No, I'm going to give it a B. I could even give it a B minus to be completely honest with you. You know what? I will give it a B minus. I'm going to be a bit of a hard critic here. I'm going to be a bit of a hard critic because I expect New Zealand to be better. I expect New Zealand to be a lot better than they were this year. So I'll give B minus. It's still definite pass mark. It's still a better than shit mark. It's still better than pass mark. It's okay. It's decent. It's quality-ish. But there was a lot of negatives that I saw this year, like I said. So I'm going to give them a hard mark here. And yet B minus is still decent, but I think that yeah, I expect more from them. I expected more from them. And they did drop a spot in the rankings technically. And like I said, I think France are better than them. So I guess I look forward to next year and seeing if they can return to domination, because I believe South Africa will be back in the Rugby Championship. So it'll be very interesting to see how they go there. Wallabies will be improved. Don't know how Argentina will go, but it will be very interesting. But anyway, guys, that's going to do us for this World Rugby review. This has probably been separated into 2 parts. I'll probably put one part out this week and one part out next week because it's just going to be too long otherwise. So I'll probably separate it. So if you haven't seen the other teams right now, then go back and obviously check out last week's video or wait for next week's video for the other half. But appreciate you guys as always. Obviously, if you love your rugby content, you love your sport, go down there, hit that subscribe button, join the BK Army. Appreciate you. Hit that notification bell as well. Obviously, smack that thumbs up button if you haven't already. I do appreciate it. And comment below what your thoughts are, what your grades are. Obviously, this is just my opinions. I'm not a professional necessarily, you know, I just put my opinions on here and hopefully you guys enjoy it. So let me know what your thoughts are below. If you think I'm a dickhead, if you think I'm right, buddy, bingo. Love it. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off. I appreciate you as always, and I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. See ya.